Yo guys, what is going on, and welcome to a special little video here. I'm going to be giving you my upcoming plans for FIFA 22, which, can you believe, is getting released in just under a week. I mean, honestly, you know when people say, where's the year gone? I think, where's the FIFA year gone? It feels like only recently I was beginning some projects on FIFA 21, and then of course when the PS5 came out as well, starting my main career mode on that for this year, the next gen console being released alongside FIFA 21. It's crazy how the year has totally flown by, and before I do get into upcoming plans for FIFA 22, I do want to say a big thank you for all the support throughout FIFA 21. You know, every single year as the FIFA year ends, I always assess my content and think about the saves that I did and the projects I ran and the series I created and think, you know, what did I really enjoy the most? What could I have done better? What didn't hit the mark? What did hit the mark? What element of creativity was I most pleased about, you know? And I have to say, FIFA 21, I was really pleased with the projects I did. Also, you remember at the start of the FIFA year, this is when we were on the current gen console, the PS4, I tried to do different styles of content and it went down really, really well. But when the next gen console got released, I went back to my traditional form of content, and I really feel that's where my niche is. Discovering over the years what I'm best at and what my audience want the most, I've always felt that's been the main niche for me. That's the thing that's always been most well received, and or I feel like I'm in my element as well. So yeah, it's been a really fun year of creativity, and also the projects I ran as well, just being really enjoyable. I have to say, I enjoyed them all, man. From the QPR save, the Cork to Glory, I think, was probably my favourite save of the FIFA year. And just in general, I had so much fun creating content on this FIFA year for you guys, so thank you for all the support. So without further ado, I want to talk about my upcoming plans for FIFA 22. Again, I'll be starting in, I believe, 6 days' time. By the time this video comes out, I think it'll be 6 days' time. My plan is to start on next Monday. Obviously, as you know, if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, you'll get the game, I think it's 4 days early. It's being released the standard on the Friday the 1st of October, but instead, if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, you get it on the Monday. So I will be pre-ordering the Ultimate Edition. In fact, I have pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition. I'll be getting it on Monday, and I'm aiming to get my first video up on the Monday afternoon as well. Now, unlike last season, I'm sure you'll be pleased to know, unlike last year, this time I'll be starting my main career mode right from the get-go. Yes, I'm really excited for it. I always do like my main FIFA CM of the year, normally at the very beginning. Last year was the exception, but this year we returned with that being the first video, the first episode of my main FIFA career mode, and I think you guys can guess the team. I think a lot of you guys have already guessed the team. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you go on my Twitter, at @DocLanders, I'll be revealing the team, if you will, later on this week, or if not, then on the weekend. But the truth is, I think most of you guys know who I'll be using. It's not a shocker, if you will, but yeah, really looking forward to it. Never used a team before in either FIFA CM or FM, so it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the project as well. Now, honestly, during that save, I obviously will be doing things just like I did with the QPR save in this year's PS5 FIFA career mode. Of course, we will be trying to prioritise younger players, but what I really liked during that save, you remember, is that we sort of created like a club identity and a club vision, and every single season we sort of panned out what the board would expect of us of the year, and as the years went by, I want to do that in this career mode as well. You know, try and make it more immersive, give some, you know, guidelines to follow as well with the youth academy and the transfer policy as well. I just think it makes the saves a little bit more interesting and unique when there's guidelines to follow. They don't need to be stuck to religiously, but just certain things that add a bit of an extra emphasis on the importance of not just playing in the game, signing the best young players and winning as many trophies as possible, but also looking away from just the gameplay itself and what you can do with the club going forward, creating a culture and identity and so on and so forth. So yeah, really looking forward to that. That'll be starting on Monday afternoon, next Monday afternoon I should say, and yeah, buckle up, man, because I'm really excited for another long main FIFA CM. Really can't wait. Now, as for my other projects on FIFA 22, I'm not going to dive too much into these as I don't want to spoil too many and give too many things away, but I have got a few ideas in the pipeline for what I want to do in FIFA 22 CM. Now, I said a moment ago that I really enjoyed my Cork to Glory save in FIFA 21. That was probably my favourite series I did in FIFA 21, to be totally honest. I really enjoyed it, and I want to do something similar like that again. I'd never done an RTG of that sort of kind. First of all, starting off in the bottom tier of the English Football League, I'd never done that before, and also using the worst team in FIFA and trying to make them the best team in the world, which of course we did in the end. I really liked the length of that project, but also as well the amount of youth players we had coming through the system and end up becoming stars. Leo Yates, Eamon Cunningham, Samuel Bell, and who was the left back we had? Oh yeah, Barry Sharkey, one of the greatest CL finals I've ever done on my channel, man. That was crazy. But yeah, I want to do something similar like that again. Whether we do a carbon copy and the exact same thing in FIFA 22, starting off with the worst team in FIFA, putting an emphasis on young players and then turning them into the best team, I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't be against running it back and doing it again just with a different team and whoever the worst team is in this year's FIFA, in FIFA 22. But I would like to do something a little bit different, like the same but a little bit different, if you know what I mean, just a little bit of a twist there. Now obviously if you guys are a fan of FIFA CM, you probably know about Cutsy. Shout out to Cutsy, who of course is famous for the YSL projects he does, and of course started many years ago now. I would like to do something similar like that myself, although I'm not entirely sure how I'll put my own creative stamp on it. There are certain sort of plans and ideas that I've been throwing out onto my page recently, just throwing out ideas and seeing which one intrigues me. I do have a few in mind to again do a series similar to the Court to Glory save, but have even more of an emphasis on youth players and also like homegrown players as well. But I guess I'll think more about that as we get closer towards doing a secondary series. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to FIFA 22. Something like that, which I did in FIFA 21. The Court to Glory save was so fun, and I want to, if not run it back, do something incredibly similar because I had so much fun with it. You guys seem to really enjoy it as well, where the stars of the series, practically all of them are youth players, because I've always said that I feel like youth players are what makes your saves unique and makes them more immersive as well. So definitely something I want to do in FIFA 22. Now as for sort of like other side projects, if you will, obviously in FIFA 21, as I mentioned earlier, before the next gen console was released, I experimented with different types of content. I did these time-based challenges, could Leicester win the Champions League in 4 years? I think it was one Everton in 5 years or something like that. A full England team, how long would that take to win the Champions League? And so on and so forth. Sheffield United, how long that would take them to win the Premier League. I must say, I really enjoyed doing those time-based challenges. Ironically, they took a lot of time to make, as you can imagine. I would like to do something similar like that again, but I don't know how I can blend it in with an old series I used to run for a couple of years, which was called Who to Sign For, because I want to bring that back for FIFA 22. I did it in FIFA 20, FIFA 19, FIFA 18, I think 17 and 16 as well, didn't I? But I didn't do it in FIFA 21, and I kind of miss making the videos. One of the best parts of FIFA CM is transfers, signing players and also selling players, but most importantly, rebuilding and transitioning squads and developing a core. That's something I really enjoy doing. In fact, it's my favourite aspect of FIFA CM now, building a team up, totally changing a team, a club's identity, and rebuilding a side. Now obviously, shout out to my man Jared, famous for the rebuilds, fantastic series he does. Obviously I would never do a carbon copy of what he does because that just wouldn't be fair on him. However, I would like to do something similar to that, doing these Who to Sign For videos, but perhaps trying to make it not just over one season as I'll traditionally do it, but over maybe 2 or 3 seasons, maybe adding in that element of a time-based challenge as well. I'm not entirely sure, how long would it take to assemble like a full British core, could that British core win a CL in 2 or 3 years or so on and so forth, just something like that. Or maybe even just going back to the classic Who to Sign For format, maybe not going too far afield, just doing one season, but just adding more transfer targets than before. Oftentimes I would just say, oh, here's a left back you can sign for this team, and they'll just sign left back and then move on. Instead giving a list of left backs you could sign and then giving more details on them. I love giving transfer targets to people because again, it's just it's great to see first of all what players that that you guys would choose out of a list of like 3 or 4, for example, for different reasons, because every player can add something different to the team and every player can be chosen for a different reason. Maybe they've got a lower overall but a higher potential, for example. Maybe they don't seem to be the best sort of player, but they fit the club identity, if you will, for realism. So stuff like that. I've always thought, again, maybe doing sort of like a realistic Who to Sign For, or realistic transfer targets. Obviously we did a realistic career mode in FIFA 21. We did 2 of them actually, and I wouldn't mind doing like a realistic Who to Sign For, because ordinarily my Who to Sign For is I just choose the players that to me seem like the best fit, not for realism but for ability and potential or play style. But perhaps a realistic Who to Sign For transfer targets type of series, that's something I wouldn't mind doing in FIFA 22, putting emphasis on realism, because again, I feel like when saves are more realistic, they can be more immersive and you can enjoy them a lot more. Definitely something I'm thinking about regardless. Now the final thing I was thinking about doing was sort of like these challenges which were sort of like in-game based. Now this is sort of like a fun novelty type type of thing, because oftentimes when I look back on my content and I look at what I'm creating, obviously there are different series and different saves and different teams and different leagues and different countries and different players and so on and so forth, but ultimately it's a manager CM with the emphasis on trying to take what is, normally not a great team into a great team and then win trophies, But I've always liked the idea of sort of changing it up and doing something like a little bit of a novelty. When the skill games got introduced many years ago, I always say one of my biggest regrets was not doing something with that type of game mode, because whilst it is a bit sort of just, again, not necessarily a novelty, but it's not exactly the sort of thing which is like a groundbreaking game mode that everyone wants to play. It's just a bit of fun to do it, and it's nice to challenge yourself and get better. When the leaderboards were shown with your friends, it was always nice before a game would start. Now on next-gen console, you don't have the skill games because it loads straight to the game straight away. But, if you were doing like a shooting drill, for example, and you saw one of your mates had a higher score than you always wanted to try and overtake it before the game started. And I kind of like the idea of doing something like that, skill games with leaderboards and so on and so forth, trying to get people involved that way. But also like the in-game challenges. I kind of like the idea of doing these like novelty sort of one-off, if not humor-based type of videos, but something which is more relaxing. Well, my videos are very relaxing anyway. My boring monotonous voice can put any insomniac to sleep, I'll tell you that much. But no, I do like the idea of doing something again which is very kind of, just is a bit of a laugh, a bit of fun, and nothing to be taken seriously whatsoever. So obviously, as many of you guys know, I once managed to score a goal from the halfway line. Yes, Docs, we remember. You never shut up about it. Back in FIFA 14 with Nathaniel Klein. And I've mentioned many times before, since the game transitioned from more of an arcade-based game to a simulation-based game, I haven't been able to do it because of the physics and the dynamics now, and the goalkeeper's not straying as far off their line. I haven't been able to do it. I came very close, actually, in my realistic CM, hitting the crossbar, lobbing the goalkeeper, but I've never been able to do it again. I quite like the idea of doing like a trying to score from the halfway line in 100 attempts challenge type of video, or trying to dribble around the whole team with your goalkeeper and score in 100 attempts type of challenge, or just something like that, or every player has to touch the ball in a build up to a goal in 100 attempts challenge. Just something which is sort of like, you can just stick it on, and it's not really the sort of thing you have to follow too closely, but it's just a bit of a laugh, a bit of fun, and something for you guys to try at home as well. If I can't do it, maybe you guys would have better success. Just something I was thinking which again could get you guys involved as well. I'd love to see your guys' attempts at 100 attempts at the halfway line goal challenges, because regardless of what some people may think, it's not easy. It's not easy to even go close nowadays. But something like that, I think, again, would just be nice to break away from the normal type of content I produce, and just something a little bit more funny, and just not to be taken seriously whatsoever. Now, real briefly, the final thing I want to discuss in terms of content for FIFA 22, because I get asked this question quite often, and that is, why don't you do any more online content like you used to? The answer is very, 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 very simple. The internet where I am right now is not good enough, and that is the very simple answer, because it's erratic, it drops off very quickly. We've had issues with it since day one. Obviously now I don't live by myself, I now live in a house share, which is great, really enjoy sharing with other people, but because when all 6 of us are in at the same time, the internet is just as slow as it gets, it's as inconsistent as it gets, and let me tell you, it drops off quite a lot as well. I know that EA servers are often considered as a joke, they're nowhere near as bad as they used to be. However, what I will say is this, I lose connection to the EA servers like every 10-15 minutes, so online content simply isn't possible. If I finish a game, that's considered a success, whether I won, lost, or drawn, because quite frankly, I'm just constantly forever losing connection to the EA servers. That's what makes online content practically impossible. If I was to move out in the future, if I was in a better financial position, I felt stable enough to move out and, live either by myself or maybe just renting with someone, if we had better internet and less people taking up the bandwidth, I would definitely consider bringing back online content, because I do miss doing online content. I really do, particularly head-to-head seasons. I miss those type of games. But for now, it physically just isn't possible. If you were to watch an online series of mine, I'd have a record of 0-0-12 to begin with, and not because I'm a terrible player, but because I just lose connection in practically every single game. So unfortunately, it's not really possible. But those are my plans for FIFA 22. The last thing I really really wanted to discuss very briefly is my plans for FM 22. Now, as we know, FM gets released slightly later than FIFA, and traditionally, over all the years, I've done FIFA and Football Manager together for the past, what are we talking now, 8 years? I've done FIFA and FM both together at some point. I always start FM later on in the new calendar year, so before it was the summer, then it became the spring. It will probably be the same this time around in FM 22 as well. I really appreciate the fact that a lot of you guys really enjoy my FM content, and believe me, it means a lot because Football Manager is my favourite video game franchise. I love playing it, it's so much fun, despite the fact the difficulty and the challenge can be quite great for a player like me who's not very good, as I openly admit often. It is still such a fun game, and it's the type of game you enjoy even when you're getting battered 5-0. It's a really, really fun game. So, of course, it's great to know how much you guys enjoy my content and the FM content and the teams I build and the way I present the videos. I really appreciate that, but yeah, I don't think I'll be starting until the new calendar year, most likely again in the springtime. The good news is, every single year I've always started earlier than the previous year before, so the trend will probably continue. You know, we'll probably start a little bit earlier than we did this year with originally our Fulham save. But it won't be until the new year at some point. I like to have a few months of FIFA to begin with, and then when I feel like I'm making a change and I have enough time to dedicate to a new project on a new game, that's when I'll start FM. When I'm feeling ready, that's when I'll begin it. And I really feel that's the best way to do it as well, because if I start something and I rush it and I'm not feeling it, and I'm not looking forward to it, I'm not really able to give my time and dedication to it, I don't think I'll make a good project. I've always felt as though the reason why my FM saves have gone down quite well and why people have really enjoyed them is because I start when I'm ready, you know, and when I am ready, I can give my best and do my best. Maybe not on my tactics, but you know, in terms of the series and the saves I produce, I feel like they all go down really well. And again, I think it's because I'm giving myself the time. If I rush something, I probably won't enjoy it, and therefore you guys won't enjoy it. You guys can tell by the way I present my videos in FM, and I love them so much. And again, I feel like starting when I'm ready is just the right thing to do. So of course I will be making FM 22 videos. Of course I'll be continuing with FM and FIFA ran side by side, but just like tradition, it will be at some point in the new calendar year. We'll discuss it more as the months go by, but that's basically that for me, guys. I'm not entirely sure what you'd have been watching in the background. To be honest, it's probably just old clips from FIFA 21. I'm just doing an audio recording right now, and I'll throw something on for the video for you guys to watch if you'd like to in the background. But thank you so much for watching regardless, and I hope you guys are excited for my plans for FIFA 22. I definitely am. And again, can you believe that it's literally right around the corner? Yes, Monday afternoon, 4 PM, refresh that sub box because I will have episode number 1 of my main career mode coming out, and I literally can't wait to get to work on FIFA 22. FIFA 21 was great. It's in the books. Farewell to it. Thank you for all support on the game. But with FIFA 22 right around the corner, hope you guys stay with me. I'm really looking forward to producing content for you once again. Much love, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I won't see you until that video. So yeah, see you on Monday afternoon, 4 PM, for the first episode of my FIFA 22 career mode. Can't wait.